Dear students, yesterday means during last lecture we had some discussion about the Indian Constitution, the history of Indian Constitution and how it came into existence. But today we will have a discussion regarding the important parts of the Indian Constitution. Particularly, as I told yesterday, the last lecture, Indian Constitution is divided into 8 schedules and 395 articles. And today, we think about what are the important parts of the Indian Constitution. The main thing is our Constitution gives guidance to everything. How the government can be run, how the people are elected, what are their powers, how they can be removed from power, all that. Every guidance is given by our Constitution. For example, legislation is there. What are the duties and responsibilities of the legislature? How those people are elected? Executive, what are the duties of executive? And judiciary. So, how the judiciary will have a control over both legislative and the executive, so that no wing of government should think that it is all in all. That's why judiciary will have a control over both legislative and executive. The central government, what are the duties and responsibilities of the central government? State governments, their duties and responsibilities. How the president is being elected, what are his powers, how he can be impeached. Prime Minister, how he is selected. Speaker of Lok Sabha and assemblies, and how they are being elected. Duties and responsibility of each and every person in office, their procedure of selection, qualification, removal from office is given in our Constitution, including the procedure of amendment to the Constitution itself. So our Constitution is full in itself. We need not depend on anybody. Now coming to the third part of our Constitution, which deals with the fundamental rights of the citizen. Our Constitution has given fundamental rights to each and every citizen of this country. Those fundamental rights are right to equality. All people, all citizens of India, all are equal in the eyes of law. The Article 14 to 18 in our Constitution deal with this right to equality. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. These articles deal with the right to equality and explain everything. And second one is right to freedom. Our country got freedom. But in the same way, each and every citizen of this country also is free. He has got freedom. He experiences the freedom, and the Article 19 to 22 explain how every Indian citizen has got a freedom. And third one is right against exploitation. The strong exploits the weak, rich exploits the poor, upper caste people exploit the poor, the lower class people, the higher officers exploit the lower persons in the office. So this exploitation is not done as per our Constitution. Our Constitution explains nobody has got the right to exploit anybody. So regarding this, Article 23 and 24 explain how the exploitation should not be done to anybody. Then fourth one is right to religion. Every Indian born in India has got freedom to accept any religion he or she likes. One must have born as a Hindu. There is no any binding on anybody that he should remain a Hindu because he has born as a Hindu. Anybody who has born as a Muslim, there is no pressure on anybody that he should remain a Muslim. If anybody has born as a Christian, the Buddha, nobody has got any restriction and everybody is free to accept the religion they like. Even in the olden days also, it is an understand according to our Indian philosophy, Hindus take the person at the 8th day or 12th day into the religion. Means by birth nobody belongs to any religion or caste. In Muslims also, they take the person after some day conducting a program called Bunji and he is taken into a Muslim religion. The Christians also, after the birth, they Christian the child. Then it becomes a Christian. That way our philosophy says, by birth nobody belongs to any religion. We take them in some religion or the other. Society takes them, family takes them into the religion which they have a faith. That's why every Indian born in India as a free citizen of this country is free to accept any religion he or she likes. This freedom is one of the fundamental rights of every Indian. And next is cultural and educational right. Any person in India is free to participate in any cultural activity and is free, he or she is free to have education to any extent. There is no any restriction on anybody that a particular religion people can get a degree or a higher education or a doctorate, PhD, so and so. They can engage themselves in research activity. There is no restriction to anybody. Everybody is free to participate in any cultural activity and they are free to have education to any extent. And right to constitutional remedies. If anybody feels that injustice has been done to him or her, he or she has got right to go for a constitutional remedy. Constitution of our country provides a remedy for the person whom injustice has been done. If the government, legislature, executive or judiciary do not rectify the injustice done to he or she, and he or she is free to go to the Constitution, seek the help of the Constitution for the redressal of any injustice done to him or her. And this is article number 32 of our Constitution, deals with the right to constitutional remedies. The cultural and education rights are 29 and 30. Now, article 31 was also there amongst the fundamental rights. Every citizen of India has got the right to make property. But by the 44th Amendment in 1978, this right was taken away by an amendment in 1978 in the 44th Amendment of our Constitution. Because many of the government employees, started amassing wealth like anything, 10 times, 100 times than their income. Even businessmen doing black marketing, they also amassed wealth like anything, which is not a healthy practice. And it will be trouble for the government. That's why in 44th Amendment in 1978, this right was taken away. That right to property was removed. And now our people are enjoying only 6 fundamental rights. Every Indian has got the right to enjoy these 6 fundamental rights instead of 7 now. And coming to the 4th part of our constitution, that's why the part 3rd, which deals with the fundamental rights of the Indian citizens, is regarded as a very, very important part of the Indian constitution. And coming to 4th part deals with the fundamental duties. As we have a fundamental rights, in the same way, we must feel that we have certain duties towards the country, towards the society, towards our own people. So these duties are introduced in the year 1976 when the emergency was implemented in the country. During emergency, Indira Gandhi thought that our people are only aware regarding rights, they are not aware regarding duties to be done towards the country, towards the society. So these 10 duties were included in the part 4th of our constitution in the year 1976 when the 42nd Amendment was done. Number 1 is abide by the constitution. People were free to talk anything to anybody. They have no fear of the constitution. Freedom means freedom from everything, they thought. They never understood the responsibility. That's why the first duty is every citizen must abide by the constitution. Whatever our constitution says, one should go accordingly. Second duty is to cherish and follow the ideals inspired struggle for freedom. Many people sacrifice their lives for getting freedom to our country. And every citizen of the country should feel that it is his or her responsibility to regard for which the people who fought for the freedom of the country and gave us freedom. Third one is uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity. Though Constitution has given us rights, but we should not be aware of only about rights, but we should be aware of our duties also. We should uphold the national sovereignty. Nation is first, and then our religion, our individual, everything. That sovereignty, our unity of the nation and integrity of the nation should be given first priority. That is the duty of each and every citizen of this country. And next one is defend the country when called. You might be knowing during Second World War, most of the Western countries, particularly England, the people, those who were serving in any department of the government and private associations, even students who were studying in the college, during First World War, Second World War, even the writers, businessmen, everybody, when there was a demand for, their demand is there for the country to safeguard it, to protect it, they left their business, they left their job, they left their studies and joined the armed forces to defend the country. And this attitude is not there with most of the Indians. And this also has been made as one of the fundamental duties of each and every citizen when the nation is in danger, when the nation needs our service. We should leave our job and go and join the armed forces to defend the country. And this should be one of our duties. When the nation calls, when the nation demands our service, we should wholeheartedly give it to the nation. Next one is promote harmony and spirit of brotherhood. Our constitution has taken this brotherhood from the French constitution. Universal fraternity. We can have universal fraternity when we have a fraternity in India only. Then only we can think of universal fraternity. So each and every person of this country should feel that we are all, irrespective of religion, caste, creed, anything, territory, language, but we should feel that all Indians, we are all brothers and sisters. That feeling should be there. This is one of the fundamental duties. Next one is value, preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Our country is having a composite culture. There were many raids taken place on this country. Aryans came, Mughals came, Dutch came, French came, British came, Portuguese came. Many people came to this country and settled here, ruled for some time. India has accepted everybody, given shelter to them. And all the cultures, the Jews from Iran earlier, which was called Persia, they came and settled here. And they became a part and parcel of this country. They have contributed much to this country also. So our country, our sculpture, our art, everything is a mixture of all the culture of world. It is almost like a miniature world. India itself is something like a miniature world. All the cultures of the world are blended here in this country, and we should respect for that. We should maintain that, this composite culture of ours. We should protect and improve the natural environment. Nowadays, it has become very essential. We are hearing of global warming. Why global warming has taken place? Why we are suffering from global warming? It is because we are not saving the vegetation. We are not saving the environment. We should be aware of air pollution, water pollution, sound pollution, earth pollution, because we are doing without any stop. And environment sets everything right. If we protect the environment, environment will protect us. That's why protecting the environment of our country is the responsibility of each and every citizen. One should think that it is our duty. And next, we should develop a scientific temper. The watchwords of 20th century were question, examine, test, and then believe. We should not believe anything blindly. We should inquire, test it. If we are confirmed that it is correct, then only we can believe. These were the watchwords of 20th century, and every Indian should follow. One should not have a blind belief. Test it. Generally, most of our people are suffering from black art because they don't have a knowledge that it is a kind of mesmerism done by some wise people. That's why each and every Indian should develop a scientific temper. And next one is, we should protect the public property. Public property is constructed because of the money given by the public. Each and every individual of this country has got the contribution has given the contribution for establishing public establishments. For example, roads, railway lines, telephone lines, and all this. It's all a public property. If anybody is trying to destroy it, it is the responsibility of each and every citizen to stop it and to question it. So this idea should be there with each and every person. So safeguarding the public property also is one of our duties. And last one is, we should strive for excellence always. We should not be satisfied with whatever we have. Knowledge is an ever-ending process. Even a retired person also can acquire knowledge. Even a teacher, after becoming teacher, he cannot stop acquiring knowledge. It is an everyday process. If the teacher acquires more knowledge, it will be beneficial to the students. So, this is a continuous process. One should strive for excellence always in all spheres. Not only in one direction or another, but in everything we should try to get excellence. But 11th duty is included in the year 2002. By amending a constitution, one more duty is added. It is concerned to parents and guardians. Each parent and each guardian should provide education to their children from 6 to 14. The government also is providing free education, and it is a crime of the parents if they do not send their children to these schools from age 6 to 14. They should not discontinue their education. They should not pressurize them to go for work. Otherwise, they will be punished for that. So these are, now we have 11 fundamental duties. If we follow all these fundamental duties, then only we can be called a rightful citizens of this country. And my personal feeling is, we should add some more duties. First one is, everybody in this country who has got a voting power should exercise the franchise, because we are getting a minority governments. Though we are supposed to be in the biggest democracy in the world, but all our people do not go to the election booth for casting their vote. The compulsory franchise should also be one of the duties of each and every citizen who is capable of voting, who is above 18 years. Otherwise, facilities should be stopped to them. And second one is faithful payment of tax. The governments are run only by the tax paid by the public. Of course, the employees are paying the tax, but businessmen, many of them are trying to avoid the taxes. As a way in our country, the tax evaders are more in number. That's why the faithful payment of tax also must be made one of the duties. If they do not pay tax, if they are caught hold, they must be given a severe punishment for that. And third one is the compulsory military training to all able-bodied people of our country, including women. You must have heard of Israel, very small country, encircled by 7 Arab countries. All of them are enemies of Israel. But even then it is surviving efficiently, because each and every high school going boy and girl and above the age of 16, everybody is military trained. Everybody is able to fight with the enemy. So 2 years compulsory military training is made in this country. In the same way, we also must adopt the policy, and each and every able-bodied person of our country should undergo a military training. And third one is, we say China is first in population. Maximum population in China. But compared to Chinese area and our area, we are the first in the world. Our area compared to China is less. Our area is 7th largest in the world. But area-wise, our population is more than China. If we consider it square kilometer-wise, our square kilometer-wise, our population should be just 150 per square kilometer. But at present, we have more than 275, 280 population per square kilometer. The Chinese per square kilometer population is 150 or 60. But that way, we are number one or thickly populated country. Within 5 or 10 years, we may have to face so many difficulties because of the population. There will be shortage of food, shortage of housing accommodation, shortage of jobs, shortage of everything. That's why the compulsory family planning must be made. Those who do not adopt compulsory family planning, whatever the government decides, 1 child norm or 2 child norms, 2 children norm, if they do not follow, any citizen do not follow, all facilities of government should be stopped. Like giving ration card, giving free education, giving bank loans. And such person should not be allowed to contest for election and should not be allowed to cast vote also. If strict measures are taken, then only